Djokovic, a hero's welcome. For those who remain in immigration detention, a very different reality and a very different journey to this point. In 2013, 25-year-old Novak Djokovic claimed his 4th Australian Open and his 6th career Grand Slam. Later that same year, 15-year-old Mehdi from a persecuted Arab minority embarked on a 50-day journey from Iran to Australia. He was transferred to Christmas Island, then to Nauru.
I had a sad journey, full of trauma, madness, self-harm. It was dark.
Suffering PTSD, Mehdi was medevaced in 2019. He's been in onshore immigration detention ever since. Novak's journey over the same period could hardly have been more different.
Novak Djokovic!
Equalling the all-time men's record of 20 Grand Slams and cementing a place among the all-time greats. For a brief moment, Novak and Mehdi's paths crossed at the Park Hotel in Melbourne.
They need health care.
Just by Djokovic being here, he brought a lot of attention to our circumstances. It's a good thing.
But as their paths diverge once again, men like Mehdi are at risk of being forgotten.
It's not clear that, to my information, that someone in that case is actually a refugee. They may have sought asylum and been found not to be a refugee and have chosen not to return.
Mehdi was granted refugee status back in 2014. Scott Morrison, the immigration minister at the time.
Some of us are asylum seekers, but mostly I can say we are refugees. Why should I tolerate torture, madness, if I'm safe to go back?
His successor, Alex Hawke, used his extraordinary powers to deport Novak Djokovic, and he could use those same powers to free Mehdi at the stroke of a pen.
I really don't know what's next for me. That's the most hard part. To be honest, I'm sick of moving from one cage to another.
Julian Burnside QC is a lawyer and refugee advocate, and he joins us now. Julian, the federal government has shown in recent days that it can move pretty quickly when the heat is on. What is the hold-up with all of these genuine refugees?
Look, the problem started with the Tampa case in 2001. The judge ruled in that case at 2:15 in the afternoon Melbourne time on the 11th of September 2001. And that was about 8 or 10 hours before the terrorist attack on America. And ever since then, people seeking asylum, seeking protection from persecution like we can't imagine, have been called illegals. They don't break any law. There's no law broken by the people coming here seeking asylum. And that's the problem, I think, at the very heart of all of this.
And that, of course, was all around the issue of the Tampa. But we just saw there the Prime Minister confused over the refugee status of these men in the Park Hotel. In the lead up to the coming federal election, will the government change its position, do you think?
It depends on what the public of Australia think. I mean, the problem with Morrison is that he claims to be a Christian, but cruelty to innocent human beings and lying about it seem to be part of his stock in trade. I have never yet heard of cruelty and dishonesty being Christian values. But if he stops lying about it, if he comes out honestly and says these people have broken no law, they are genuine refugees, then maybe attitudes would shift.
Well,
It depends on how you judge what a nation is like. You can either listen to what they say or watch what they do. And unfortunately, if you watch what we do, we don't come out very well.
So what about the world watching at the moment, all this attention with the Djokovic saga? Will that help these people there at all, or is the world going to move on as quickly?
I fear that the world will move on just as quickly, but frankly, what Australia is doing to refugees is a disgrace, and it will be recognised by the rest of the world as a disgrace. The irony is, it's true, Australia cannot take the world's refugees. That's the fact. But the world's refugees represent about 1% or less of the world's population. Now, if Australia decided to set its mind to persuading the rest of the world that they should tolerate an increase in their population of just 1%, the world's refugee problem would be solved straight away.
Julian, New Zealand's offered to take all our remaining refugees and Medi's eligible for resettlement in the US. What possible justification could the federal government have for keeping them here at considerable emotional and financial expense?
None at all. And what we are doing is absolutely despicable and can't be justified in any means at all.
Oh. Well, Julian, it's always a pleasure to chat. Thanks so much for your time tonight.
Thank you.